We're on air? Shit, why didn't anybody tell me we're on air? Oh my goodness. Holy smokes, what is going on back there? Good day, subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am Jeremy. This is the Financial Education Channel, and today we're doing Stock Market Weekly Recap, number 10 ever in history, recapping the March 24th, 2017 week. We're going to do like we usually do, look at how the markets did, look at some of the stocks that went up the most, down the most. We're going to go ahead and cover the biggest stories that happened this week, which there were several of them. And then we're going to look at earnings that are coming next week and news stories that are coming next week, which we have a few of them, guys. So let's just go ahead and get right into this. So first off, Dow Jones Industrial Average had a bad week, actually, down 1.5%. Not a great week. The NASDAQ was down 1.2%, still up big for the year to date, but once again, down 1.2%. The S&P 500 down 1.44%. What is my view on this? What is my view on the markets having a tough week? Basically, the way I look at it, I like it. I actually like it, and not that I'm short any positions. I actually have no shorts out there right now. I have no short-term puts or anything like that. But from my perspective, I don't mind if the market's down, let's say, 5% over the next month, maybe even 10% over the next month or two, because I think we're fairly valued, as I've stated. You know, when we're at 21,000 on the Dow right now, we're fairly valued, but we're on the highest end of that fair value. I would like to get a little closer to that lower end. That's where I feel safe and secure, where, you know, I definitely don't want to get into that bubble territory. That's no fun, because then when you crash, you crash hard. So I don't mind a 5-10% correction. In my opinion, I think it's healthy. I think it's needed, actually, in the market. So let's look at a few of the stocks. Look who made the list again, Snapchat. This stock is going to make the list for almost every single week, I swear to you. Up over 16% this week. I mean, one week it's down 20%. Next week it's up 20%. It's just ridiculous. Seabridge Gold, which is basically a gold, silver, copper company, they had a really good week. They were up over 10%, and they do a lot of exploration with that. So some of you guys that, you know, invest in gold, like gold stocks, that might be one you want to check out if you have not checked it out yet. As far as the downside, Hertz Global Holdings, which is basically a rental car company, that's most of you guys will know it, and I know the company, down almost 20% this week. Horrible week for them. And then last but not least is GameStop. GameStop was down 16% this week. Most of those losses came on Friday. So GameStop, they're in a tough business. They're in a very competitive business. But what I saw, I didn't look into the numbers too deep, but I saw they actually beat earnings, but yet their stock tanked, and that's what happens sometimes. It just makes no sense. So something I wanted to point out real quick. I counted how many stocks went up 10% this week versus down 10% this week, and the results were quite startling to me. 9 stocks went up more than 10% this week, 10% or more, 9 stocks. However, stocks that went down, there were over 39 stocks that went down over 10% this week. This like blew my mind. Only 9 stocks went up 10% or more this week. 39 stocks, so basically 4 times the amount, actually went down 10% or more. Weird in my opinion. So next up, this is the biggest story of the week in my opinion. And I didn't even really want to cover it for a while, but some of you guys were asking about it, and it does absolutely affect, you know, the majority of my viewers are Americans, so it affects you, and it also affects a lot of big companies in the healthcare laws. But basically, the GOP, they were unable to muster enough support from their own party. House Speaker Paul Ryan again postponed a vote Friday on the GOP's plan to overhaul the Affordable Care Act. The move came as a request of President Trump, who just Thursday night issued an ultimatum that lawmakers should hold a vote regardless of outcome. So basically, Republicans could afford to lose no more than 21 or 22 votes from their own members, but defections appeared to exceed more than 30. So basically, nothing is probably going to happen with the Affordable Care Act anytime soon. This is, you know, just another reason why I hate politics, because so often I see, you know, and this happens from both parties. You know, they'll complain about something. I've heard 7 years of complaining about Obamacare and everything, and then you get your golden opportunity. You know, the GOP is in pole position right now. They have every house you could possibly want. They have the Senate, the House. They have obviously, you know, the president. They have everything in their hands, and yet they cannot get this done. And it's probably not going to get done anytime soon. I mean, Paul Ryan even, you know, made a statement that basically we're going to have Obamacare for quite a while. There's nothing going to happen anytime soon. So Now, where this could play out in a good thing is, and of course, if you're in favor of Obamacare and you think that's the best route, then obviously you're very happy right now. Why Republicans are like probably pissed because they've been promised, they're going to change things, and they, get all the votes out there, and then they can't even get it changed. So, but here's the thing: this could move way now that Affordable Care Act is kind of pushed aside, right? Overhauling that's going to kind of be pushed aside now. This is going to allow opportunity for other bills to get passed, like maybe lowering taxes, things like that, lowering taxes on corporations, maybe a corporate tax overhaul, something that has an easier time passing, because healthcare, getting anything done healthcare wise, it's so hard to pass that stuff in the United States. Lowering taxes, a little bit easier. That's a little bit easier to pass. So maybe that can go to the forefront. Maybe other things that create jobs, those kinds of things, maybe those can go to the more of the forefront. Maybe those bills can get passed now and go through the Senate, because basically if the healthcare bill did get passed, let's say, there's going to be so many arguments in the Senate for months, if not years, about different factors in that, and it's going to take all of their attention away from other things like maybe corporate tax reform, which we absolutely need, maybe personal tax reform, some of those kinds of things, guys. So this could actually be a good thing for the markets. So think about that. And then next up, we had so Ford came out this week and they had some weak guidance. Ford said it expects first quarter earnings per share of 30 to 35 cents, well short of forecast of 47 cents. So that's a big mess. Citing increased costs and weaker demand, Ford earned 68 cents per share earlier. So basically their earnings are dropping by about 50%. That's huge, huge, huge. Now, something interesting I found here. this is, it's coming. Ford, General Motors, and Fiat Chrysler have been down sharply in recent days. Ford stock has fallen around 8% since March 16th, which was like last week, amid growing concern about used car prices, slowing auto sales, and the stability of the ballooning auto loan market. Morgan Stanley talks about this. So it's very interesting that all of a sudden this is getting all this attention, the sales and whatnot. When some guy named Jeremy on the Financial Education Channel came out a little over 11 months ago, about a year ago, and he had like 50 subscribers at the time, and he posted this video about auto sales bubble. It was a 4-minute video. When you guys are done this, go watch that video. Type in auto sales bubble into YouTube. It'll be the first one posted up. I'll be sitting there with my arms crossed like this, and I talk literally about every single thing that all of a sudden everybody's paying attention to now. I talk about used car sales prices coming down and how that will hurt things, and that was when the market was at a peak. And I was talking about how that's going to end up playing out, the auto loans getting out of control, things like that. And I remember there was like one person who commented and they like totally were against what I was saying, and I went back and forth with them on that comment section. You guys can look at that. I only had like 50 people watching my videos back then. So one comment was like a good thing and I like responded to it in depth and whatnot. The video's hilarious. I was just watching it right now and I was cracking up because I was talking so slow that it sounded like I smoked a big joint before I got in front of the camera. It's hilarious to watch. But also, the information in it, dead on, dead on. Next big story up, we have FedEx. So FedEx, I told you guys, I always love to pay attention to FedEx numbers, UPS numbers, because basically you can get an idea of how the economy is doing. So FedEx, they missed earnings as far as earnings went, but revenue was roughly in line. And that's what I care about when I look at FedEx and UPS. I care about their revenue. What I'm looking for is are volumes good? Are a lot of products being moved around the United States, things like that, around the world? That's what I like to see. So the revenue numbers I pay very close attention to. Earnings numbers I don't care about, because whether they lowered costs or higher costs, that has nothing to do with why I track those stocks. I mean, that would if I was invested in those stocks, which I'm not. I like to just track those to see how their business is doing. All of a sudden, do they have a 5% down revenue or 10% down? That might be there's a lot of weakness in the economy out there. So that's why I track that. So FedEx, solid numbers as far as the revenue went. That's what I'm looking for, and that's why I track it. Nike came out and reported earnings. Basically, the Oregon-based retailer reported earnings of 68 cents per share for fiscal third quarter of total sales of $8.4 billion. Analysts were expecting Nike to report earnings of 53 cents on revenue at $8.47 billion. So they beat numbers across the board, but actually the stock ended up falling on that report, which I thought was interesting. I was very surprised. I'm like, But this always happens, guys, and this is why you can't really like play earnings. It's so hard to play earnings because you can be dead on about, oh, I know that company's going to beat, based upon all my things I'm looking into and whatnot, they're going to beat numbers, and they beat numbers and the stock goes down. It's like, what? That's freaking mind-blowing. And then some company will miss earnings by a mile and their stock goes through the roof. So that's what I covered this week as far as the things I was looking into, the big market stories for me at least. Now, as far as this upcoming week, we have a few different earnings. Carnival Cruise Lines, they're reporting earnings, so that should be interesting. Dave & Buster's, which is basically... they're basically like, oh man, I would say like a Buffalo Wild Wings combined with like a Peter Piper Pizza type experience, like a family place to go and the kids can have fun, but a little more upscale type place. That's what I saw Dave & Buster's. They're reporting earnings this week. Holy smokes, look at that sandwich. Oh my goodness, that's going to make me gain 10 pounds in itself. Lululemon is reporting earnings. They're the yoga pant company. They have a lot of different clothing lines now, but they started with the yoga pants and that's how they got famous. BlackBerry is also reporting earnings. BlackBerry is one of those stocks that it's a story stock right now. It could be in turnaround mode, or it could not be. They're trying to turn that whole company around. It was once, before the whole iPhone became as big as it was, and the Samsung phones, BlackBerry was the thing, and now they're trying to totally change the business around. So and go against actually hardware. They're more of a software company now. So that's an interesting company to just kind of pay attention to and see what are they doing. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed. And if you just came across this video, we do these videos every week. You may want to subscribe. We talk personal finance also on this channel. We talk entrepreneurship. I'm an actual business owner. I give away so many business tips. We talk about the stock market the most of anything. Thank you for watching, guys, and have a great day.